Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger back with another video. I want to comment on an article that I read. It's on the Bleacher Report wrestling section. It's an article by Michael Heaver. This article is entitled WWE's PG Weakness: How TNA Could Counteract Money with Total Non-Stop Attitude. The gist of his article is the way TNA could compete with WWE is to be Attitude Era, try to bring back the Attitude Era. And if they do that, even though they don't have as much money, they can compete. He talks about how Vince Russo worked for WWE in the past, and he was a large part of the introduction to the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era resulted in record buy rates, record TV ratings, worldwide recognition. The people wish they had it was as big as it was in the Attitude Era now. He says, alright, let me read the part of this. Alright, quoting. The point is, TNA needs to look at how Vince McMahon truly made his millions. His safe, his safe, babyish, outdated wrestling product nearly went out of business by the mid-1990s as WCW tore into the McMahon empire with a mix of the groundbreaking NWO, established names like Flair and Savage, new Lucha Libre stars, and up-and-comers like Chris Benoit, Booker T, and Chris Jericho. Success by McMahon was achieved by radically shaking up the product and going for a more mature audience with an infinitely more gritty, realistic, and audacious product. That has now been abandoned by McMahon, and as wife Linda started a political career, WWE is now targeting a PG audience. Logic would say that this creates a massive gap in the market for a product that fills the aura of craziness, excitement, and violence to an extent that the WWE created back then. TNA needs to go there. I'm not talking about wacky for the sake of it, for example Orlando Jordan with whipped cream, but a product that takes a defiant stride towards attracting young adult men between 18 and 30 rather than trying to please everyone. The audience is there. It's been proven in the past. Society has moved on though, but the wrestling business has not. TNA needs to become more total non-stop attitude with a swagger, with blood, with unpredictability and adult themes that young men pumped with testosterone want to watch every week. UFC Swagger has shown how to break out as it has innovated with programming that has refused to play it safe, instead branching out year on year. The MMA industry as a whole comes across as young, eager, and hungry, while pro wrestling seems happy to sit on its perch and continuing to repeat and redo. He goes on to talk about that he thinks an issue with TNA is that they try to please everyone and no one in particular. They want to have something for everybody. And his whole thing is they should pick one group and just focus on that group and basically just say, hey, screw everybody else. And just focus on one group. He says focus on the 18 to 30-year-old male and just give them Attitude Era type stuff. I'm here to say that I completely disagree with this sentiment. I've heard a lot of people say this, come up with this idea of TNA needs to go TV 14 and TNA needs to be Attitude Era, and I believe that it will fail. And I'm going to tell you the main reason. The concept of MMA being attitude is bullshit. Those are just people being themselves, and it's a real sport. You cannot. I know the fact that MMA is a real legitimate sport is one of the reasons why you can't use the same things in MMA and use them in pro wrestling and make them work. MMA is an attitude. You just have people being themselves. It's attitude because the fighters are mostly dickheads. If they weren't dickheads, they wouldn't have attitude. Okay, but they would still have the fact that it's a real sport to fall back on. I mean, MMA doesn't really push the envelope the way the Attitude Era did anyway. The reason I feel that a second Attitude Era wouldn't work. I don't think it would work if the WWE did it either. Is that the Attitude Era pushed the envelope in the 90s, and many things are different today than were in the 90s. Things that you did then that were pushing the envelope wouldn't be pushing the envelope anymore. And I believe that if you try to, from an Attitude Era stance, push the envelope anymore, the only way you could really do it without it coming off as just you rehashing old shit, you have to push the envelope farther than it has already been pushed. And that it's been pushed so far that if you attempt to push the envelope anymore, you're going to fall into the realm of disturbing and tastelessness. I mean, how many people already, just over the past few weeks, have talked about the Jeff Jarrett Kurt Angle storyline and talked about how it makes them feel uncomfortable. I've heard a lot of people say that. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of websites, a lot of wrestling radio shows have said that storyline and them doing it's so realistic and bringing up the past and the relationships and the divorce and mentioning their kids that it just makes them feel uncomfortable. But that angle is pushing the envelope. That is one angle going on in wrestling that is truly pushing the envelope. That is an angle. That's something that's never been done. We've never brought up people's real life shit in this level, in this way before. I mean, you got close with the Matt Hardy Edge Lita thing, but this is even goes beyond that. This is some real life shit. This isn't like when WWE did the stuff with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, and it was just a storyline, just some shit they made up. This is based on some real shit. It is gritty. It is definitely TV-14. It's not PG or kiddie in any way. It's pushing the envelope, and everybody says it's too far. So most people that I've heard said they feel that it's gone. That this storyline goes too far, and it makes them feel very uncomfortable. And I'm liking the storyline, but I'll admit too, some parts of it have made me feel uncomfortable. I feel like, ooh, I just wish they hadn't done that. We're at a point now where the envelope has been pushed so far that you can't push it anymore without delving into just discomfort and borderline tastelessness. I mean, you talk about a character like Goldust when he came around. I mean, that was something different. That character was pushing the envelope now. And although we're not completely there yet, at that time we were a lot less tolerant of any type of alternative lifestyle. Where we're much more accepting of it now. One of the most popular shows on TV right now is a sitcom that I recently started watching called Modern Family, and two of the main characters are a gay couple. You go back to then, that when that's more acceptable now. The first time, I think, when the show I think it was Will and Grace had gay people on it, that was considered controversial then. Remember there was an old sitcom Murphy Brown that used to be controversial because the main character was a single mother. Pushing the envelope has been pushed so much that in order to do something now that would be considered shocking and controversial and pushing the envelope, you'd have to delve into an area where some people will just may say it feels uncomfortable or that it's just tasteless. I can give you another example. You look at Orlando Jordan, he's just doing like a comic version of some of the old Goldust shtick, and people don't like it because it's just old rehashing old shit. But think about the concept. Okay, but what could we do with that character? The fact that Orlando Jordan really is a bisexual male. What if we did something with that seriously? What if we just came out and flat out said it? Orlando Jordan comes out and says, I'm bisexual. I'm a bisexual man. I'm a wrestler. And we did a storyline. I did a video a while back where I was talking about the character Bully Ray and how I like that character. I want him to be a good heel and start bullying some people. Because, on a sidebar, I expect the Bully Ray Devon feud to end with a career match where Bully Ray wins and retires Devon. That's where I see this going, and to get his heel thing up. And I was thinking, once this feud is done, you could do some good stuff with Bully Ray when he starts bullying people. And one of the things I thought about was, Orlando Jordan. What if he really Have Orlando Jordan just flat out say, yeah, I'm bisexual, and don't make it a overboard Goldust ripoff. Let him just be a dude. Let him just be a normal guy who is bisexual, and have Bully Ray sort of be the heel, who's just like this homophobe who attacks him because of it. And I don't want, I don't want no queers in my wrestling company. Ain't no room for queers in wrestling, and have Orlando Jordan as the baby face and Bully Ray as the heel. And when I did that video, I got comments from people saying, how many people see that I did just say, I just don't want to see that on my TV. I think a lot of people would feel that way, that sort of a storyline, it would be new, it would be different, it would be pushing the envelope. But I think most people will look at that and just say, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't want to see just a gay character. People ain't really ready for that. I think most people, if they did a storyline, would say, I don't want to see it. I don't want a storyline about this gay dude just flat out saying he's gay and then him feuding with somebody over the fact that he is gay. I think a lot of people would say it's too much. It makes them uncomfortable. It's borderline tasteless. I mean, if they actually did that storyline, we drop all that stupid dumb jokes with him and Eric Young. No more dressing up in the flamboyant suit. He comes out in regular clothes, in regular wrestling trunks, and wrestles like any regular dude. But he just acknowledges the fact, but he flat out says it point blank on TV, I am bisexual. He doesn't make it part of that, and he just said, I didn't come here. I don't want to be just some stereotype like Eric Bischoff Eric Bischoff wanted me to be, and now that Dixie Carter's back in charge, I can just be me. I just want to be a wrestler. Yes, I am bisexual, and I hope that you won't hold that against me. And then have Bully Ray just be like the heel who just like this homophobic heel against him. If they did that storyline, tell me your honest answer. How would you feel about that storyline? Because I've already heard several people say they just don't want to see a gay character on their wrestling show. I've heard more than one person say over the past months when I've mentioned Orlando Jordan and commented on my videos saying that they just don't like the idea of a gay wrestler, of an openly gay wrestler, and they just feel like it doesn't belong on a wrestling show. But it would be new, it would be innovative, it would be pushing the envelope. How much can you push the envelope? I just think it's been pushed so much that you're going into borderline just tastelessness if you try to push the envelope anymore. Plus you gotta think about things like technology. The WWE divas were way over more to me when I was a kid. When I was 12 and 13, I fantasized about them. I used to dream about seeing the divas and Sunny and Sable and Marlena and stuff like that. I got high-speed internet now, and I'm not embarrassed to say, I'm just saying, any one of us, we all know where to find video. Every person listening to this video can and has found videos of women who are as hot or hotter than any of the divas or the knockouts, do a whole lot of things that aren't PG. Let's just leave it at that. I got plenty of videos on my computer of women who look better than any of the divas or knockouts doing some very, very not PG things. It's easy to find. I don't need to see half-naked, big-breasted women bouncing around on my wrestling show anymore. I have high-speed internet now. When I was in junior high watching Sunny and Sable and Deborah and Tara and Marlena and the Nitro girls, I didn't even have dial-up. I didn't even have a computer. Shoot, I didn't get a computer till I was like in the 9th grade, and that was dial-up, so you couldn't even get anything. The Attitude Era, I was like in junior high during the Attitude Era, during the height of the Attitude. I'm talking about the height of Austin versus McMahon and The Rock and Goldberg. I'm in junior high at that time. I didn't get a computer to the 9th grade, and that was dial-up. So I got high speed. I got my own apartment and high speed internet. If I want to see some good looking women, I can hop on my computer and see as many as I want. Look, They can be as raunchy as they want to, but let's be honest here. Velvet Sky ain't gonna get naked on Impact. You know she ain't gonna get naked on Impact. I know she ain't gonna get naked on Impact. The people watch at home watching on TV know she ain't getting naked. What they can put her in her bra and panties, and they can put her in a bikini and have wet t-shirt contest and whatever. I got a high-speed internet. I can find women who look just as good or better than Velvet Sky doing way more, and Velvet ain't getting naked. So again, what's the point? I think that there's something that wrestling fans, especially IWC, need to accept. The Attitude Era is over, and it's never coming back. It can't come back. They've done everything they can do without going into the realm of just uncomfortable tastelessness. I mean, if you disagree, give me some angles. Give me some storylines that you would do that you feel would be Attitude Era type stuff that, one, hasn't already been done, two, pushes the envelope, and three, doesn't fall into the era of just cringe-worthy, uncomfortable, or tasteless. Because everything else has been done. I mean, people, we Katie Vick, where else do you go? Katie Vick, where else do you go? I mean, I think I made my point. If anybody from TNA ever hears this, TNA, do not try to be Attitude Era. The Attitude Era is gone, and it is never coming back. But just because you can't be the Attitude Era doesn't mean you have to be PG. You can be PG and still appeal to an older audience. There are many things. Every one of us can name something that appeals to us that is considered PG that we wouldn't call kiddie. You know, I give the example of any good superhero show. Any good superhero show, especially a lot of superhero shows in the 90s, were great examples of how you can be PG but still attract an older audience. Especially the 90s. You know, Fox Kids used to have all the Marvel cartoons on there, and they were great examples. When if you look at like mid to late 90s Fox Kids, they had Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman animated series. You know, those were great examples of being PG without being kiddie. Spider-Man was PG, it wasn't kiddie. X-Men was PG, it wasn't kiddie. You know, and there's other superhero shows that have done the same thing. Certain seasons of Power Rangers have done it. Not the early stuff. You know, you watch like season 9 of Power Rangers, which was Time Force, which was which was like the first sort of dark version of Power Rangers, where it wasn't like the happy fun kiddie show. Season 17 is your best example. From 2009, Power Rangers RPM. This was like somebody wanted to do like, imagine, you know how they do superhero shows with the gritty reboot? Power Rangers RPM was the gritty reboot season of Power Rangers, where it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where the majority of the human race has been either killed or enslaved, and the Power Rangers are protecting the last human city on Earth. It's like this supercomputer virus has like taken control of the planet. It infected military computers. It launched weapons at countries. It took control of factories. It built robotic soldiers that obeyed its commands. And when the season opens, the computer virus known as Vengeance has conquered the majority of the planet, and the Power Rangers protecting a city called Corinth, which is the last human city on Earth. All of the humans have either been killed by the Vengeance soldiers, robotic soldiers, or enslaved by them. And there's several on-screen deaths in the season. Again, this was airing on ABC Kids Saturday morning cartoon. After like the end of the cartoons, this was airing. There's one scene where, for example, the Red Ranger, he's fighting off these drones, and he's in a fighter jet. It's a flashback to before he became the Red Ranger, and it's him and his brother, and they shoot down his brother's plane. His brother's plane explodes, and his brother, the jet explodes. His brother's dead. Brother doesn't come back at the end. He's dead. He's gone. The Yellow Ranger, before she becomes a ranger, she's like this spoiled rich kid, and there's like this full scale attack of the virus of the computer, the robot army attacking, and her butler is trying to help her escape, and he takes a blast from one of the robot soldiers to save her, and she gets away, and then they show like him dying, and her like closing his eyelids as he's dead and folding his arms over, and she's running trying to get to safety. I mean, this was like, it was PG, but this was like the most non-kiddie. It's wild. Like, go on YouTube and find the episodes, Power Rangers RPM, and check it out. It's a wild season, but it's another. But back on topic, it's another really great example of how you can be PG without being kiddie. Justice League Unlimited from a few years ago. Those are also great examples. PG but not kiddie. You can do PG without being a kiddie show. And I think TNA needs to look at that. You can be something that's okay, where our sponsors look at us and say, okay, well, we don't have a problem being associated with this show. It's not. You can do a wrestling show that's appealing to the whole family. You can do wrestling in a way where it's entertaining to a 10-year-old kid would like the show and want to watch it, but at the same time, a 20-year-old could watch this same show and also enjoy it. And that's the medium that we need to find. I think some of the older audience has been turned off by the WWE's PG era, and a lot of them have gone to MMA. But there's a lot to be said for that PG era. It's kid friendly. You still sell as many tickets, but you get way more sponsors. Sponsors would help TNA. Sponsors help pay for some stuff that save them a little money, and that would be something that really helps TNA grow if they had people add sponsors for some of their shows. I think going back to Attitude reduces your ability to get sponsors. Second, if you're trying to be Attitude, then you're directly competing with MMA. That's another thing. That 18 to 30-year-old male, a lot of those people are into MMA now. So if TNA does try to go forward towards an Attitude era type stuff, they have to be ready to directly compete with MMA. And does anybody think they could do that? Do you think TNA, even if they went Attitude, could put on a show that could compete with MMA? Even if I'll give you the whole fire Russo, put in Paul Heyman, yada yada yada, whatever the rest of you always yell about doing. Anyway, do you think that there's anybody who could take control of TNA Creative and write a show that could compete with MMA for the 18 to 30-year-old male? WWE couldn't. They knew they couldn't. That's part of the reason they went PG. They know they're not going to take that away from MMA right now. Not right now, they're not. Let me check my time. I like the YouTube. I got the over 15-minute thing now, but the downside is I know I can talk for on and on and on, and I tend to talk for on and on and on. I'm at 23 minutes right now. Y'all been listening to me talk, so let me go ahead and wrap this up. Just to recap my main points. One, you can be PG without being kiddie. There is a medium of show where it's okay for a kid to watch, but entertaining enough for adults to watch. You can find that medium. Two, the envelope has been pushed as far as it can be. If you push the envelope anymore, you're going to push it into that realm of uncomfortable tastelessness. If anybody from TNA ever sees this, do not try to go Attitude. Trying to do an Attitude era is not the answer. It will not work, and everybody will just look at it as if you're just rehashing same old shit anyway. So, that being said, this is the Shadow Ranger. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TJSMITH3. Also, one last thing, I'd really love to do a Q&A video. I don't know how many subscribers I have right now, but if anybody is interested, let me know. And I want to look into doing that in the future. So, thank you for listening. Have a nice day.